executive at Amazon is facing a lot of heat following an accusation of sexual harassment by a producer behind one of Amazon's shows. Her name is Isa Hackett, and she is a producer behind Amazon.com Inc.'s show, The Man in the High Castle. So after the Harvey Weinstein accusations came out, she shared her experience, her alleged experience with Roy Price, who is the executive behind the Amazon streaming shows on the platform. And her allegation was that in 2015, during Comic-Con, she had gotten into a cab with him and another executive, and at that point, he started propositioning her for sex and started talking about his penis and how she would love his penis. It was a story that broke by The Hollywood Reporter, and it's absolutely disgusting and shocking. And she, came public with her account. Now, following this allegation, Amazon has decided to suspend him. They released a statement saying that Roy Price is on leave of absence, effective immediately. We are reviewing our options for the projects we have with the Weinstein Company.
These are tough situations because they have to do an investigation. Weinstein, Cosby, Trump, Ailes, O'Reilly, was overwhelming, right? Dozens of women in most of those cases. In O'Reilly's case, about half a dozen, et cetera. There were settlements that were paid. There were by whether it was Fox News or Weinstein stuff. So if Roy Price went around talking about the things that Isa Hackett alleges, it would be really surprising if Amazon didn't let him go. And he had some success there, so they got 3 Oscars and something they never had before. So they're of course going to be careful about it, and he's an important executive there, and I get it. If he did it, I think everybody's on the same page, and I'd be shocked if they didn't let him go. But we can't also jump to conclusions on every single allegation. And I'm not doubting Hackett's account at all. I have no evidence on this situation, and I don't know Roy Price from Adam, okay? So I got no dog in this fight. I'm just saying that this is not like the others in that it is one allegation, and let them do the investigation and find out.
Yeah, I mean, as far as I know, there are no other women who are accusing him of this, but it usually starts with one person who finally feels comfortable enough to come forward with her account and what occurred. And so I'm glad that she did that, and I hope that there is an investigation. It seems as though Amazon is taking this seriously, whereas with all the other people that you mentioned earlier, Cenk, it took a very long time for some ramifications. With Trump, he was elected president, so which is pretty devastating. But I like that now there is swift response, and that people understand the severity of this issue.
And the other interesting thing about this is the week that a lot of the Weinstein stuff came down, and it may have empowered her to come forward on this other stuff. The tide of Weinstein reports sometimes is what's needed to bring out some of these other allegations. And as Cenk says, we don't know, and both Anna and Cenk have both said that, and I'll sign on to that as well. Having said that, it's interesting to see the Weinstein thing sort of fall into the same constellation of like sexual harassment, blood on the floor as the other Cosby stuff. In other words, the Cosby MO was recorded by a bunch of people. It's the same MO, like it's the cappuccino or it's the drink, right? The Weinstein thing, it's the same thing. It's the same MO. That's the same blood on the floor as the last one. He asked me for the rub down and all of this. This is just a one-off so far, so it's hard to put it into any kind of sort of plausibility or implausibility. We'll have to see.
Well, what I also find interesting, so this is different from the other cases in that there's one accusation so far. But what I do notice is a similar trend or a pattern with all the people who have been accused. These are people in positions of power, and they've apparently felt like they could do and say anything without any consequence. And it's scary to think of what people are capable of once they know they have the upper hand and they do have a position of power like this.
Yeah, that's a consistent feature, right? The powerful guy who doesn't seem as though nothing bad can happen to him. That is certainly a consistent feature of this one.
Yeah, look, if it's true, two notes to guys who are considering similar things, because you would think like, who the hell would consider that except we keep covering stories, right? So one, saying to women, "Would you like to see my penis?" is not an effective line. So just put it back in. Don't do that. It's a really bad. It's sexual harassment if you're in a position of power. And if you're not in a position of power and you're a random dude at a bar and you don't know the person and she doesn't work for you or anything along those lines, it's still not going to work. So, and no, very few times in the history of humanity has a guy come up and be like, "Hey, you want to see my penis?"
No one wants
and
to
a
see
woman
your
was
penis.
like, "Oh my God,
Like,
how did you know? The thing I was looking for," right?
look, I guarantee you, if a woman wants to see your penis, she will tell you. She will ask, she will solicit that penis image or for you to whip it out. Like, don't assume that you have the greatest penis in the world and that everyone wants to see it, because that's just not the case.
And secondarily, like, I don't know if you, I think that I read in one of the stories that he might have been drinking. Don't drink too much at work. I can tell you countless stories of guys who thought it was fun to drink, to get hammered at work, and then they say terribly inappropriate things to coworkers. In every one of those stories, they get fired. So be cool. We have fun. We have a Christmas party. We all drink, right? Not all of us, but a lot of us, and we have fun. Just be cool. Like, just for God's sakes, use some common sense. And I think Anna's right. Sometimes the more powerful you get, the more you feel immune, and hence you feel like you don't need to do common sense because you're untouchable. Come to find out, that might not be the case. If you like this video, you'll love the whole TYT network. Check it out at tytnetwork.com/join.